Welcome to Behind the Boot, a Louisiana sports podcast. Your favorite weekly show bringing you the latest news in Saints, Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and more. Enjoy the show.
What up? What up? Welcome back to Behind the Boot, a Louisiana sports podcast, where we cover everything. It's going to be a weekly podcast. We cover everything from the Saints, Pelicans, LSU Tigers, whatever it is in Louisiana sports. We got you. We back here another week. Our guy Dan, unfortunately, had some adult business to take care of. Man, big boss man at his job had some stuff to tend to, so he working late today. But be me and Jerrette running it for this week for you. I kind of want to start out talking about the Saints, just because I feel like there's been a lot of Pelicans talk on this pod lately, which we will be getting to that. But I do want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about the Saints, man. So Malcom Jenkins retired. That kind of put another hole that we need to fill. Obviously, we had like Taryn. We talked about the potential ways we can plug in that hole from the Taryn departure, but now the Malcom Jenkins departure opens up a new vacancy for us. Just kind of wanted to get your reaction on the decision. I mean, we had mentioned it last week. The guy is aging. You know what I mean? So we kind of knew that this was coming sooner rather than later. But what do you think about Malcom Jenkins retiring, and what's some routes you think we can go to fill the hole?
Let me start by saying that Malcolm is gonna definitely go in like the Saints Hall of Fame for sure. Guy was a hell of a guy on the field and a hell of a guy off the field. Team leader, says all the right things. Can't get better than that than Malcolm as a pro's pro. Now to go into the eventual replacement, the Saints can go different ways, a number of different ways. But I want to be straight up. I'm a homer. I am an LSU guy all the way. I pull for my home teams, and I want Tyrann Mathieu. It makes too much sense. You basically replaced Marcus Williams with Marcus May, a guy that can do, the same and a little bit more. So now, if you can add Tyrann to replace Malcolm, kind of like the same players,
Yeah.
Tyrann can play in the box. Tyrann can also drop. Tyrann can also cover tight ends. He can also cover backs off the backfield. It makes too much sense. And then you can keep CD in his role, in his nickel. I mean, the guy has said he is the best nickel in the league. So
I agree with him.
And I agree too. So why not just keep him? You can just, you replace him. You keep the same intact, pretty much. And no one kind of misses a beat. If Dennis Allen is such a great defensive mind like he says he is, the fit makes too much sense to not go that way.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it before we started recording. Like, I think anybody with a brain, if you're somebody who follows the Saints organization, you understand that this is literally the perfect scenario. You have one of the best free agents on the market for a position that you have a void at, who is from the home state, grew up watching the team, grew up a fan of the team. He's loved in the area. He's one of the top talents at his position. Like, you know what I mean? It just makes too much sense to not do it. Now, Saints do have a history of doing a lot of shit that just don't make sense. So maybe they do pass up on it. I did want to kind of go over like a few of the potentials. Like if I'm the Saints and we just kind of weighing our options, like obviously I don't think they should do half of these, but we discussed Tyrann Mathieu. Um, Re-signing PJ Williams is an option, which I wouldn't mind. I don't think PJ is the greatest, but he's somebody who's familiar with what we do. So I definitely wouldn't be against bringing PJ back. Like he's definitely serviceable. He's not
Yeah.
a Pro Bowler, you know what I mean? But he he know what he need to do if he playing for us. And then one of the other options would be to move CD from the slot. So that would be a potential. I don't like it. I think he figured out a way to be successful in the field in the role that he's always had. So if you can keep him in that same role, I think that would be ideal. Like you said, slotting Tyron in there would kind of just keep everything as it is. You know what I mean? Like you get a similar play style to Malcolm Jenkins, um, and everything that I mentioned when we first brought up Tyron. So that would be an option. And then one of the other things that's intriguing to me is drafting. Obviously, you would have, a similar situation. Like I immediately think about how much Paulson Adebo worked out for us. I think early in his rookie season, he had moments where teams would pick on him. You know what I mean? And that's what come with having a rookie out there. But I think, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe you got some insight on what type of guys there are in the draft at that position. Like if there's some standout guys. But I think we usually draft pretty well, specifically with defensive backs. So I wouldn't be against going the draft route if they pass up on Tyron for whatever reason.
Nah. I haven't really been paying much attention to the defensive guys like in the backfield because that's not one of the Saints' really major needs, because they can fill that void in a number of different ways. I mean, we forget PJ did play a little bit of safety in college also, and he also played a little bit of safety when we did like someone to replace an injured guy. He played safety too, a couple of games. So he knows what it takes to play it. I mean, that's not a strong suit, but he could play it, right? Maybe if he had a whole full off season to get back into that mindset of a safety, maybe it could work out. But like you said, the Saints have been pretty good in drafting DBs. The only thing with that for me is, do you want to wait for him to get his feet underneath him,
Right.
the rookie? Because it's going to take, judging from Paulson Adebo, it took him pretty much a little bit more than half the season for him to start really getting, okay, this is the NFL. I know what I can and what I can't get away with, and I know, you know, what I'm good at and what I can use to win my battles, right? So
Yeah.
every rookie has that rookie wall to get over. But do the Saints and do Dennis Allen want to kind of wait for him to get adjusted? Or you can just get a guy like Tyron and be like, hey, Tyron, this is what you do. It's pretty much the same language and safety, safety talk. Just boom, here it is. Let's go, baby. We got this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what's more important to them in the defense right now? Because I think defensively they're ready.
Yeah, of course. Which
Championship
is
defense.
which is why I wouldn't be like obviously I really want Tyron. Like that's my favorite option of all the options, right? But if they were to pass up on Tyron for whatever reason and go and get somebody in the draft, I would understand their thought process. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't completely be like, what the hell y'all doing? Like, and to your point, like Paulson did take a while. I would even say like three-fourths of the season. Like maybe that last quarter of the season was when I started to say like Paulson Adebo is gonna be solid for us. You know what I mean? But he had a long stretch where you could literally tell offenses were attacking him, like they were targeting him. So you would have those kind of growing pains. But the positive to that is I feel like the defense as a whole is strong enough to allow time for growth, if that makes sense. Like they still good enough as a complete unit to where even if you have a DB that's learning or, trying to come up to speed, they still gonna win you games as a complete unit. You know what I mean? Like I really do believe the defense is that good. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I hope they get something done soon. I check my phone every morning hoping that the Saints sign Tyrann Mathieu. You know what I mean? He did an interview, a podcast, whatever that was, man, and he basically was saying how it didn't look like he would know soon. He was just saying, I just hope before camp I can get something done.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was just a little smoke screen or not spill all the beans and whatnot, but
Well, he been in Louisiana, man, the whole like, I think for this full week.
yeah, definitely.
Well, he's
He was at
definitely in Baton
LSU all
Rouge
week.
for all week. Talking to the football team. He went throughout the first pitch at the LSU baseball game. Did a couple interviews. So I mean, if the guy's in town, why not at least talk to him? You got the money for him. Saints got 21 million in cap space right now. You have to spend it some way somehow. All you need is like 3 million in cap space, a little bit more, like maybe 4 million or so, just to sign your draft picks. So you have about $17 million left to spend. You have the money. What are you going to do? It doesn't look like they're going to go sign a wide receiver from free agency. I mean, we
Which
still
is
even talk
tough.
about that because they still
That's
got
tough.
talent. They still got Julio out there. You still got Jarvis Landry. I know Odell's coming off the ACL, so you don't have to worry about him right now. But they still have quality guys out there. I think that can still provide that we're not asking to be number one because we still got Mike Thomas. So
Right.
what? I mean, are they really gonna go the wide receiver route? I think they're gonna do more the draft for wide receiver, in my opinion. But I mean, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows what the Saints
And
really gonna do?
it's crazy, man, because again, just kind of how we talked about with Tyron, I think wide receiver is a similar situation where obviously there's big names, there's guys like Julio and Odell and guys like that who we know who they are and they've been doing it consistently over a long period of time. But if you can find a receiver in the draft that has size, has good hands, can go up and get the ball, decent speed, like that's all you need. You just can't whiff. Like if you draft a wide receiver, you can't get somebody who won't be nothing. But it's I feel like it's easy to hit with receiver. Easier than other positions. You know what I mean? So we'll we'll keep an eye on that, man. I do think that they'll be capable of handling the situation. So
God, all I ask is that we cannot get another Traquan Smith.
yeah,
My
definitely not.
God, I cannot believe they signed this guy back.
I just want
For
a
for
receiver
what?
with size. Like, is that so
Man,
hard to do? Like, find somebody who has decent size. Like, I'm tired of these little slot receiver looking dudes, man. Like,
man, I think so. Size is not really to me a big thing because Mike Thomas still has size. He can go up and catch contested balls. He just never got an opportunity to because Drew Brees had a noodle for an arm, right? So
yeah,
he had a couple of contested catches, but he never really had the opportunity to kind of really showcase his contested catches like he could have because he had Drew Brees. I just need someone that can get open, someone that can separate. We need route running because what are we gonna do when they start bracketing Mike Thomas, right? So
all right.
not all big body receivers have the ability to separate off their man. So we need someone that can separate nice crisp route running to get open to give Jameis that second option, to keep the ball moving. Not the ball, but the chains move, put it that way. Because
Yeah,
Mike Thomas is our number one. But they're gonna bracket him, they're gonna double team him. Okay, so who's gonna step up? Is it gonna be, you know, Deontay Hardy, or it's going to be Marquez Callaway, or Traquan Smith. Or, I don't think those guys is capable of running nice, crisp routes to separate from their man, because they didn't do it last year. Maybe they
Yeah,
could
I,
do
I
better.
I will
I
say
don't know.
this though, the way they kind of approaching it is, and I thought hard about it. I saw moments where Marquez Callaway looked like he could be what you describing. I think having Mike Thomas out there with him will ease some of that up because he's definitely not a number one. But last year at times he was our number one receiver. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's ready for that. But as a number two or number three, I think Marquez Callaway can be better than we thought. Like we was asking a lot from him in that last year, which last season was just I don't know, man. It was everything that could have went wrong went wrong. It was just one of those years. You know what I mean? Injury, COVID, all this. It just wasn't good. Wasn't good for anybody. But I do think that if they don't make a move, it'll be kind of similar with what we seen with the Pelicans, where you put a lot of I hope that these dudes work out because they pivotal to our success. Like you gotta pray that Herb Jones develops into the best freaking defender you ever seen. Like that type of thing. Like I think Marquez Callaway has that type of potential at the receiver position. I know that sounds crazy. I know they're gonna have people listening to this like this dude tripping. But I've seen moments last season where he showed me flashes of that. And keep in mind, he showed me flashes of that with Trevor Siemian throwing to him. With you know what I mean? It's gonna be different with Jameis. Like,
Yeah, I just hope that he can be more consistent, and maybe he have a chance to develop that, in the off season.
yeah,
So because he went to the last off season hoping that Mike Thomas would would still be healthy, but setback after setback, and he's like, oh hey, Marquez, by the way, you're our number one guy. Like, whoa, wait, what?
yeah,
He probably wasn't expecting that role, so he just got thrown into that role. But that goes to show you that he is capable, but I just need consistency because Traquan leave it at he sucks. Don't like him. I, I'm pretty sure he's a good guy off the field, but as a wide receiver, he sucks. Saints should have decided to go somewhere else. Whatever, cool. Deontay Hardy, we all know what he is. He's a one-trick pony. He's just your burner. He has a little bit of, maybe route running, but that's mostly just comebacks and out routes. You know, the defender think he going deep and he just break it off right quick, boom. Right. That's
yeah,
that's what Deontay Hardy is. So we just need our wide receiver group to step up for Jameis. So Jameis can provide that spark for us offensively so we can get more games won and be more consistent as a group.
yeah. And I'll just add one thing to that before we move on. Uh this wide receiver room, as it stands, I'm like, I don't know. But if you throw in Odell Beckham, if you throw in a Julio Jones, it goes from I don't know to like, damn, we working with something. Like we literally that close. So it makes no sense to me why we wouldn't at least attempt to make a move. It don't have to be no big splash signing the biggest name you can find. But like you said, we just need something that's not Traquan Smith. You know what I mean? Like
Big facts.
so
Big facts.
we'll see what they do, man. I'll be refreshing the timeline just like y'all looking for some news, man. Uh, but let's move on to the Pelicans real quick, man. Um, big road trip coming up. We just had the first game of the road trip against the Trailblazers, so I just want to kind of start off recapping it. You got a chance to see that game, right? I know you was traveling and stuff.
Yeah, I caught like the second half of it. I did not read too much the first half, but definitely the second half.
Well, perfect. Now I can explain to you and the audience what I saw from it that kind of worried me because I watched that game and I got worried for a couple of reasons. So the main reason is I feel like we should have in no scenario been in a battle with the G League version of the Portland Trailblazers. Like
Indeed.
the the roster that was out there is literally a bunch of dudes that's just trying out, hoping to not get cut. Like for crying out loud, Didi Luzada had substantial minutes. You know what I mean? Like
First
somebody
game
who,
back.
yeah, somebody who couldn't even get on the court on our team when we was at some low points. You know what I'm saying? So that says a lot of the situation that's going on in Portland. So you give up 37 in the first quarter. The second quarter, you follow that up with some horrendous rotations by Willie Green, which is I know we kind of, well, not we, but I have been on a critical streak of Willie Green, right? Like, and I preface that with saying I like Willie Green. I think he's the right hire. But now that that's out the way, I can give some fair assessment of what he's doing. And I can confidently say that the rotations he had out there in the second quarter of that Portland game was just horrendous. Like, there's no reason we should go so long of a stretch with no CJ and no BI. There's just no reason, especially
And
when Devontae not gonna get a ball to JB.
sorry to interrupt you, but didn't have Jonas in there also? Wasn't it like no BI, no CJ, and no Jonas? I heard
Right. For
like
a stretch, he put JV back in
yeah.
after, they literally couldn't score at all. And then he put JV back out there, but it was still no CJ and BI for a long stretch of time.
I don't get that.
And the thing is, I feel like he's doing the same thing that he did with um Garrett Temple. So he has this thing where I feel like he's given people too much of an opportunity to prove themselves, especially people like Devonte Graham. So I look at people like Devonte, and I think he has gotten more than a fair shake, more than a fair opportunity to show that he's capable, right? And he's proven to you that he isn't capable, or let me not say that he isn't capable because we seen the 30-point game that he had, but the issue is he isn't capable of being consistent. He isn't capable of stringing multiple games together to where he can be somebody that we consistently rely on to contribute valuable minutes. So my thing is, and like you can weigh in whenever you feel like it, but my thing is like why does Willie Green have these crushes on certain players, and then when you give players like Trey Murphy minutes, and he's, to me, every single second that he's on the court of whatever opportunity he's been given by Willie Green, he's proven that he deserves it. But yet we still in this limbo. Now he's been closing the past 3 or 4 games, so I give Willie Green that credit, right? He's allowing Trey to play in times where he needed. But you're a much better team when Trey Murphy is out there and not Devontae Graham. So why not play the same way you should approach the playoffs, the play-in slash playoffs?
True that. I think me personally, so he reminds me of kind of like a an old school coach. So he reminds me like rookies, like for instance Trey Murphy. He's gonna make him earn every single minute. He's gonna make sure that he knows exactly what he's doing when he gets in there. If not, he's gonna come out quick. With the Devontae Graham though, since he was the one of the acquisitions, like big time free agents they signed in the offseason, he's gonna give him multiple chances to kind of like get in the groove or trying to, not completely take him out of the rotation just because of his reputation and just because he signed with him in the off, well, not even signed, but traded and they gave him a $10 million a year contract. But
Yeah.
it's
So
like, why? If dude's not playing good, clearly he's hurting the team. It's like he can't guard. He cannot freaking he don't know or where to go on rotations. Like once the defense collapses, like he's just lost. He doesn't
yeah,
fight over picks. He can't rebound, and he's not shooting well. So what is he providing for you, Willie? Why is he still in the game? He can't do anything.
right. And so this is my thing. So Trey Murphy, you can have similar arguments. Like to me, not nearly as bad as Devontae Graham with the negatives that he present on the court, but I'd be lying to you if I said that Trey Murphy was just the perfect player and gave you the perfect minutes. You know what I mean? Like there's minuses that come with playing Trey Murphy. I understand that. But when I look at the result of certain rotations that he's been playing, like let's say just within the last 10 games, right? That bench unit when Jose and Najee and Billy or Jax is on the floor, like that rotation, they're a whole lot better when Trey Murphy's there than when Devontae Graham is there. And I know the box score isn't always everything, but let's just look at like Devontae's last 10. Obviously, he had a great game against the Bulls. He scored 30 points, 8 for 12, 5 for 7. That was his only game in the last 10 that you can look at and be like, all right, he played good. Now, granted, not only did he play good in the Bulls game, he played great. So kudos to Devontae. I don't want to just blindly shit on him. You know what I mean? Like he's shown that he is capable. But what I mean that stick out to me is consistency. Consistency, particularly in important games, which is what we seen when we played San Antonio. And the dude
Yes,
gave us 6 points in 28 minutes. 2 for 10 from the
disgusting,
field, two for
disgusting.
seven from three. You only had 2 assists. Like you're getting baked on the defensive end. That can't happen in those type of games. That was a play-in game. That was a playoff game. Like if that's what you're given in those scenarios, bro, it's not gonna work. And I'm pretty sure Trey Murphy had a good game that game. Let
And
me,
that's another thing. So like we all know he's capable of that. But let's face it, Devontae gives you a game like that 1 out of every 20 games, bro. It's like we don't need that 1 out of 20 games. We need that consistently. We're not asking him to put up 20 points a game. We're not asking him to put up 30 points a game. Dude, we're just asking if you can give us 10 to 12, 13 points a game. That's,
right.
that's, that's all we're asking. You
In
know,
that range would be outstanding.
exactly. But he can't consistently do that, and that's a problem. Now, back to the Trey versus Devontae situation. For me personally, so we know what Devontae Graham is, right? Devontae's not gonna get any better. He's a liability on defense because he's just so small. And is either he's on or he's off, right? Trey is just now scratching the surface. Like we don't know exactly what Trey will be because he's still learning the game and he's still figuring out what he can and what he can't do. Not he never even had a full off season to kind of work on his game because he was in summer league this year and then right after summer league it was boom, it was straight to training camp, trying to find his role. New team, new coach, all that. So Trey, in my opinion, he has way more leeway if you put him in there because he's learning. And dude rebounds. Of course he's not that great on defense, but he's there. He's long.
Yeah. He's
And
active for
he's
sure.
yeah, and dude is he's shooting. He's actually knocking down shots. So you can afford to have him out there. when he's providing all that stuff for you. He's like he brings energy, man. Like every game, he has a play, whether it's a putback or and one or offensive rebound. He just comes out of nowhere or a defensive rebound. As we've been seeing, the Pelicans has been struggling to grab rebounds, even with two freaking 7 footers on the court. Trey comes in and make rebound look easy, man.
Yeah, he's one of those people. He's similar to Najee in the sense of even if he isn't playing the greatest game offensively or defensively, just his effort alone makes good shit happen. Like, because people can say, I know that there's some people who really like Najee, and there's other people who think Najee is trash. But one thing they can't say is that he shifts the game when he subs in. You know what I mean? Just his energy alone, it changed things for the whoever we playing. Like specifically last game, like he went crazy. Like I think that hard drive to the cup, he's very good at making a decision of I should go up with this or I should dish it off. Like he has perfected that. You know what I mean? So I think Trey Murphy is similar. Like the energy that they bring make good things happen. So I just wanted to point out, like, I want to finish my F Devontae Graham segment. Uh 28 minutes against the Spurs, 6 points. 17 minutes against the Lakers, 2 points. 1 for 6, 0 for 4 from three. The guy specifically brought in for 3-point shooting. 0 for 4 from three against the Lakers in a game with very high implications.
That's horrific, bro.
That can't happen, bro. That can't happen. Then you got another 16 minutes against Portland. Again, 1 for 5, 0 for 4 from three.
That's sad.
It,
Not to
it,
mention, like most of those shots are open. It's like
no, I feel like he getting to the point where teams don't respect a shot because a
exactly.
lot of them are open.
And so like this is practice, bro. Like you go through practice drills, shooting open shots, you still can't make them. Like what is really going on?
He really drive me, bro, because he get a lot of those, like those threes where the ball gets swung around to you, you pump fake, and then you get that flyby, and then after that it's nobody. It's just like you're literally, like you said, it's shoot around, bro. This is you in the gym, just you in the goal. Just shoot the ball and make it, bro. I'm not saying you gotta be 100% on those, but I need you to make more than you miss. And to go 0 for 4 in back-to-back games, that is just in back-to-back games with big implications. That's the part that's like, all right, we got to make an adjustment, Willie. I'm really tired of seeing dude get 28 minutes in a game and he doesn't deserve it. You know what I mean?
At this point, he's probably in his head, man. I don't know what else to say. At this point, he's in his head. He gotta take the braids out. Oh, he goes for 30. He leave the braids out. He goes right back to his shooting slump. Put the braids back in. He still sucks. So like, you can't find nothing to work out for you, man. You just
It's
can't.
crazy, man, because like I feel like Pels fans, we had so many years of shit that we looking for anything to cling on to and be excited about. Like we was really thinking that the Fro gave this man some power. Very next game, he was back to shit. He must have had like a good session with his woman before that game, because he just was in a good mood. He was in the zone, but I haven't seen that since. You know what I'm saying? But
only
let's
6 games left, bro. That's it.
yeah, definitely. And that kind of lead me into the rest of this road trip. So we looking at the next three. We got the Lakers on Friday, Clippers on Sunday, and then the Kings to wrap everything up. What you think, Jerrette? What's the record over those three?
Tomorrow Lakers. I guess it all depends whether or not LeBron plays, which they make it into like a playoff games. They got Anthony Davis possibly come back tomorrow. So now I think if everybody plays, they should still win that game. Honestly, it's gonna be close. Clippers. I know Paul George came back and he came back with a vengeance, bro.
Yeah. He went
So
crazy on his comeback game.
yeah. So I don't know, man. They might. I think that's just one of those games they just might slip up, man. Not slip up, but just not play good. Put it that way. I think that's just
Yeah.
one of those games
See,
because if they Clippers is like one of those is like a better Trailblazers team. Like they got a bunch of guys over there that's scrappy. They're just still trying to prove themselves, but just better quality players. But now they add back Paul George. It's like, whoa, all right then. They came
yeah,
down. They came back from 20. What it was 24, 23, some of that the other night with Paul
yeah.
George first game back.
Well, see, the fact that they was even in the 8 seed and up until recently comfortably in the 8 seed without Kawhi Leonard, without Paul George, they're a well-coached team with players that are underrated. I'll say that. Like I think players like Reggie Jackson is very, very underrated. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he had a nice little growth just over the course of the season, even better than I saw in the past. But you're right, that's a tough game. But I keep it a bean, Jared. That's the only game that scared me over the next three.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think anything, and I ain't even gonna say scare me. Better word would be make me nervous. But worst case scenario, I think we should lead this road trip 2-1 over the next three.
I can agree with that. They better not. They better not take the Kings lightly either, right? Because
Well,
they
I
they're
think that's why
capable.
games like the Portland one is important and still good for us is because they obviously went in there thinking they was just gonna have an easy one. They thought they was about to 40 piece them, and they didn't pull away till 6 minutes left in the fourth. Like, you know what I mean? They really had to play them dudes, which is crazy to me, beyond me, bro. I could tell Willie was itching to get the guys off the floor. Like he wanted to sit JV, he wanted to sit CJ, he wanted to sit BI, and the bench just never could pull away. Like they was really having to play a game. But I think that waked them up going into stuff like the Kings game, going into the Lakers game. You definitely can't give up one of those like early big holes like you did in the last Lakers matchup. So it'll be interesting to see, but I say 2-1, worst case to me over the next
Yeah,
three.
at the minimum. I mean, if they really play like they should, man, they have a potential to kind of really go 6-0 this last stretch. You know, because they got the Trailblazers after the Kings game. They got the Grizzlies, which I feel like the Grizzlies might just sit their starters. You know, because I think they're pretty locked in their playoff spot. And Josh still hurt. I don't think Josh came back yet, but that has the potential for them to like rest their starters. And then the Warriors on a slump right now also. So Steph Curry is hurt. So would they? Warriors been struggling as of late, man. So
Yeah.
that could also be a kind of like, would the Warriors actually play their starters type deal? Because I mean,
Probably
honestly,
not.
because
Uh,
that's 12 p.m. games, man. That's early games.
yeah. The only
So
thing I can see where they would really be trying is if somehow the standings move around. I'd have to look in day position. What are they like a 4 seed, 5 seed?
the
What the Warriors at
Warriors,
right
yeah,
now?
the Warriors are 4 seed right now.
Yeah. So if they like jockeying for position late, they might play it. But if not, or if they think they'll do better, fall into the fifth or whatever the case may be, they'll probably rest people. So I think you're right. Like it's definitely possible to win out. And then for us, um, actually let me pull up the standings. But
Yeah.
I think we might be looking at possibly being able to take the eighth because we We had 33 wins, they had 37.
Yeah.
So it's 5 games, but we be banking on them losing a lot and us winning out pretty much. You know what I mean? It would take a miracle type scenario. I know that they got a more difficult schedule than us. Like I'm looking at their schedule, they got the Bucks tomorrow. Then we play them Sunday. Then they got the Suns. They'll most likely beat the Kings and the Thunder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their last two.
Yeah. I
But
think they got a better shot keeping an 8 seed.
yeah, it's pretty much locked up. It would be nice. Like
Yeah.
it's fun to think about because I like the thought of making it to the play-in and being able to lose a game and still have a shot. When
Yeah.
you coming from the 10-9 spot, it's win or go home. You know what I mean? You gotta win two of them things. So, and that's tough against a Clippers team. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we
Yeah.
we have to beat the Lakers or the Spurs, which is tough. Well, the Spurs is tough. Not scared of the Lakers at all.
Yeah.
Spurs are a little they worry me. Like Pop has our number. He know how to beat us.
Nah,
So
man. I wouldn't say that, man. It's
he know
just
how to beat us, Jared.
I what's the last time that we didn't have no BI, man? And the last time we played them, we smashed them by 30.
Yeah. I
So I
mean,
feel like if we have everybody healthy, I feel like we win that game. I think it'd be close, but healthy BI, healthy CJ, healthy Jonas, I still think we win that game.
yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel like on paper, yes, I agree with you. Like we win that game 8 out of 10 times. But for whatever reason, the other 2 out of 10, Pop know how to make that scenario happen. So if we make any mistakes on our side, it's over. I've noticed that playing the Spurs. Like we have to come out and play a good game. You know what I mean? A all around good game. Everybody gotta be contributing. You can't have Devontae Graham going 2 for 10 in 28 minutes. You know what I mean? You can't have Jonas having one of those games where he just let Jakob Poeltl grab 20 rebounds on him. Like those type of things happen and we lose. But either way it go, man, we still don't have Zion, which lead me into the last thing before we get out of here. Uh, we still don't have Zion, so this season to me, just sitting where we sitting at, I look at it overall a success. Even if we go to the play-in and lose, don't make it to the first round, I'm overall satisfied with where the season has gone. I think we've made it to a point where the future don't just look bright. Like we see, like, okay, the foundation is built. We're one or two slight moves, and I don't even mean like splash moves. Like you've done that with CJ McCollum. You know what I'm saying? You've added a true big three when Zion come back. Like they literally just a game of musical chairs away from competing. And by musical chairs, I mean moving out Devontae Graham and sliding somebody in his spot that can do what they're advertised as. You know what I
An
mean?
actual shooter.
Exactly. So I've seen a lot of people talking about Jordan Clarkson. I'm not too fond on that. I think he's a Nikhil Alexander Walker. Just fast forward to later in his career, like he just one of those hams that you get lucky some night he go crazy, but most nights he just a ham. You know what I mean? But he's a better ham than Nikhil was. I'll give him that.
Better handle Devontae too.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
I'm pretty sure if he's open, he'll be getting open shots. Hypothetically, if he's in the Pels, he'll be getting open shots, and I strongly feel that he knocked down those open shots.
Oh,
That
absolutely. He
that's
he
just me.
definitely knock him down at a higher rate. But
Yeah,
then again, felt the same way when Devontae came in. Like Devontae had established himself as like that's what he is. He's a shooter. He can shoot. And then for whatever reason, players just come to the Pelicans and forget what they good at. You know what I mean? So we'll see, man. But
it's a good point. Good
I wanted
point.
to just kind of move into our last thing before we get out of here. there's been rumors of Zion potentially coming back soon. There's been rumors that despite the team saying that he's still in one-on-ones and he's, slowly progressing, still working, but slowly progressing. There's rumors that after this road trip wraps up, that he will be available for our return home. I believe it's Portland that we play when we get home. I'd have to look at the schedule, but I believe it's Portland. Um,
Yeah, it's Portland. Portland, Thursday, April 7th.
there's people who think that Zion will make his debut at that game, and we kind of talked about it before we started recording. Um, what you think, Jared? You think it's possible?
Do I think it's possible? It's possible. But will they let him actually play? Me personally, like I've been on the hype train of if the man ready to play, let him play. Uh, so just if he's actually ready, why not? What will it
Yeah.
hurt? What
See,
will it hurt?
and this is the thing that make it weird. I know we had the convo before we started, so you might be able to share a little bit of insight on this guy who said what he said. So apparently he's the same guy who had like the inside intel that Zion was gonna post the dunk video. So while the claim seemed crazy, this guy recently had some intel that hit that was true that nobody else knew was coming. So maybe, and it's becoming a joke, that little sources say thing where who the fuck are these sources? You just capping. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he specifically made a case for like, okay, he obviously got some type of inside something that the regular you and me don't have. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So when he says these things, and I've seen it pop up in other outlets as well, that like we hearing that Zion is returning. My question is, why would the team put out conflicting information? Because there's like two sides of the coin, right? I think the Pelicans, the way that they mismanaged his injury as a whole this season, they kind of dug themselves in a hole to where I feel like, let's say Zion was progressing and they thought like, okay, we have a target date of return for April 7th versus Portland Trailblazers. If there was any setback in that time, the fans would riot. You know what I mean? So I understand kind of why they take this little cautious approach. But man, we worked our way back into a playing spot. We 7 games away from, you know, actually seeing that come to play. And we got an opportunity to ruin the Lakers' hopes and dreams. The only thing that could make that scenario even more crazy is announcing a Zion return. So I'm so mind blown on why we
I'm
can't
with you.
ever get any information.
Yeah, I think he hit right on the nail. I think they're just trying to prevent the fans from rioting, bro. Because was it they said it twice. They said it before the season started. Oh, Zion had a little surgery, a little injury in the offseason, but he'll be ready the first game of the season. That was Griff's
Yeah.
words and his words. Guess what? No go. Then they said it again. So he came back. I think it was right before Christmas. They was ramping him up, getting ready for him to start actually doing some team activities, and then boom, another setback. Oh, now he's
Yeah.
gone to Portland and rehab some more. After that, see, we all know we just yeah, fuck it, it's over, bro. It's
Hey,
like
and I ain't
he
gonna
gonna never
lie.
be healthy. We
When
all
he
went
got on
smiling,
that
bro.
when he got on that plane and went to Portland, that's what took all the air out my tires, bro. Cause that was still at a time where we didn't turn the corner to where we are now. Like
Right.
the product on the court without him was still at that point in time, we still watching Garrett Temple give us some of the worst minutes I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's the shit we was dealing with. So like I was really like, man, fuck this team. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So it's I can kind of see how you want to play it safe because that would be the worst thing you could possibly do. Is say, yeah, this is the target date. But I feel like you could say something similar to what they said with the Anthony Davis thing. Because I was reading a injury report for Anthony Davis, and what the Lakers was put out was we have a targeted return Friday versus the Pelicans, barring any setbacks. So they basically said, this is we pretty sure we gonna play, but if some shit happen, we told y'all. You know what I mean? Like that's how the Pelicans should handle it. Cause bro, the fan base would the vibes would be crazy. Like Smooth the King Center would be going nuts. For if they knew that, okay, I'm buying this Portland ticket, I'm seeing Zion. Like, bro, that stadium would be that arena would be going crazy.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I I feel the same, bro. But I think they just trying to play it as safe as possible because they ran out of those chances to say that.
yeah,
You
they
know,
did.
I'm pretty sure the Lakers. This was kind of like their first time saying, "Hey, this is target date, bearing any setbacks." Like, there wasn't like Griff and the Pelicans saying, "Oh, he come back right now," but then all of a sudden he's not, and then again, and then
Yeah,
it's just not a setback. So you kind of use all your your lifelines, bro, saying the possibilities of this guy returning. So at this point,
yeah,
it is better off just leaving like it is. If he comes back, announce that week or that couple of days before the actual game, and people still gonna go fucking crazy.
yeah.
Either
That
way it
that
go,
is that is true.
so rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. Like hopefully I forget this dude name. I wish I
It was a
knew.
Mikey Matuk, former LSU baseball player.
Yeah, him. So if y'all familiar with his show, go YouTube the clip and see what he said about Zion. I got my fingers crossed that, whatever source he is talking to is accurate, like they were for the last one, because that would really top off the season. Like I think, bro, if Zion came back for the play and the Clippers or the Spurs could not rock with us, like that would be easy dubs. If Zion came back and then he immediately was last year's Zion, we gonna see first round Pelicans, which would be crazy. That's all I really want to see,
I
bro.
would I would say, like, it'll be very hard for any team to match with the Pelicans if Zion comes back. It's like not too many people can match up with CJ, Brandon, Zion, and JV. It's like you don't have that much options to kind of
Yeah, cause all those
defend
players you
that.
name that's not Zion, JV is commanding a lot of double teams in
Yeah,
current roster. CJ McCollum is demanding a lot of double teams in our current roster.
right.
We already know BI, especially pre CJ.
Yeah.
Shoot, it was triple teams sometimes. Like you can't do that when a Zion Williamson is on the floor. It's impossible.
They'll
Like,
double team him before they double team everybody else
bro, I
because it's
remember
just so easy for him to get 2 points in the basket.
we played the Bucks, and I remember a screenshot of Zion driving to the lane, and there was four Bucks in the paint, like
Yeah,
trying to literally build a wall to where he couldn't. And it was just shooters all on the outside. It's just we didn't have nobody that could hit it last year.
exactly,
But can you imagine CJ McCollum just waiting?
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Trey Murphy just waiting in the corner. Like I already know if Trey Murphy catch a corner three
Oh,
wide open, it's cash.
yeah. I have
It
the
ain't no Devontae Graham stuff.
nah.
I'm more shocked that it don't go in when
Exactly,
he miss.
exactly.
Like
I
Trey
have the
Murphy is good.
utmost confidence in him to knock
Facts.
down that corner three.
Bro, two shots from our bench players that I have 100% confidence in. I tweeted this last game when Jose put up that floater. You might as well count it, bro. It's I'm where
That
I'm at with
floater,
the
man.
Trey Murphy. I'm where I'm at with the Trey Murphy corner three. Those two shots are as you can count on it like you count on the sun rising in the morning.
That
Like
floater is damn deadly, bro. You can tell he been
it,
working on that a lot.
he has because I remember when we first got him, I liked his defensive energy, and I was like, if this dude just had any type of offensive game, we would be nasty. Because he was trying those floaters, he just wasn't making them. But now he putting those floaters up, and I don't think he's missed one of those in like 3, 4 games. And he been putting them
Been
up at a high clip too.
yeah.
Like that's his little bag.
I would add two more shots, like CJ from that mid range, like that little he drives and he kind of like step backs.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
I feel like that's automatic most of the time. Like that
Yeah.
is
And
going in.
and I was just talking about bench players because I think we know that like that elbow shot from BI in the mid
Exactly.
range
Yeah.
is a layup.
Yeah.
CJ McCollum in that little, like you said, that little when he gets to dancing in the mid range and he just kind of step back and put it
Yeah.
up, you know that
Uh,
that's good.
that's buckets.
I
Yeah.
feel like Jonas when he do that little hook thing out the post, he do that little half spin, that's good all the time. Like we know what they can do, but when you add Z to the mix, it's just gonna be OP.
Oh,
I,
that's gonna be
I really think that's gonna be crazy. Like if that dude comes back,
scary
I might
hours,
lose
bro.
my mind. Like I really might lose my mind.
Scary
It's
hours, bro.
it's hard for me, bro. I've never the only time ever in sports in my sports fandom timeline that I've ever been excited as I am now is the Saints Super Bowl year. And I attribute that to me being a whole lot younger too. And obviously it was like the franchise first Super Bowl. We wasn't used to being there. But like I remember I had genuine excitement for that. I haven't been excited for any of my sports teams like that since then. You know what I'm saying? So if Zion came back, I think that changed the complete what not think. It obviously changes the trajectory of the team. So it's like I was excited without him. But if you add him, it's like you said, it's really scary hours. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be tough for who like we gonna be similar to the Nets in the East. Because the Nets is an 8 seed. So some poor 1 seed fought their whole season to get that number 1 seed just to see KD and Kyrie in the first round.
Facts.
And that's what's gonna happen in the West. The freaking Suns bust their ass all year
Yep.
to see Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum and
Give him
Jonas
hell.
Valanciunas in the first round.
Give him
You know what I
hell.
mean? It's crazy. So we'll stay locked in, man. I think that's gonna be it, unless you had something you wanted to add before we get up out of here.
I'm all good, man.
Yeah, so we'll head out for this week, man. If y'all stop by to give us a listen, we definitely appreciate y'all. Y'all subscribe, like, leave a comment, let us know how we did, man. Follow the Twitter handles in the description at Behind the Boot. Let us know, if any feedback y'all had to offer, and we'll see y'all next week. Appreciate y'all.